Welcome to BRIT'S Tips. Thank you for being here. If you are new to my channel, my name is Brittany, and I give tips on everything to do with managing children. I am recently back in the workforce. I was home with my children for a while. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old, and well, really almost a 7-month-old. And I just returned back to the workforce. I am a director of a preschool. We have 9 classrooms where I work, multiple staff. So a huge part of what my job is to help manage the children. So BRIT'S tip number 21 is how to handle a non-compliant child. Now, non-compliance just means when a child is just not doing what you're asking, what you need them to do. I feel like a person couldn't talk enough about this topic. So I'm just going to provide a little bit of information, some factual knowledge, and then I'm going to actually show you an actual video example of non-compliance. My very own toddler, Harmony, just choosing to not listen to me, just making the choice she didn't want to get in her car seat and leave school and go home. And so, she's not having a tantrum, but she's displaying non-compliant behaviors. So to backtrack, when I was in college, back when I was in school, and when I really first started working in like group care settings, which is like, not like nannying or babysitting, but it's when you're working at a school, I started really seeing how difficult young children can be. And the thing is, young children in a group setting, right? They're not your own. So all the things that people say to do if a kid's not listening, like, oh, spank them, yell at them, take something away, like, the thing with that, the caveat to that is that you can't do those things to children when they're in school. It's illegal. People can have their licenses revoked. Literally, your license can be revoked as an educator. So everything you went to school for can be sacrificed if you cross certain lines. So that's why there's just some certain guidelines that we're expected to follow in this early childhood education realm. Not to mention, there are just numerous amounts of studies and backings that show that children that are disciplined, if you will, or managed in the realm of non-compliance, and not just non-compliance, but young children who are managed, rather, when young children's behavior is managed in a way to where you're using positive discipline, it's just proven that there's better long-term results for that child. They learn how to self-regulate better. They typically want to make better choices because they're being taught. So really the difference is just simply this: punishment, and I've talked about this in a lot of my videos. You should go check them out. I give grave detail as to the difference between positive discipline and punishment. And it doesn't mean children don't have consequences. It doesn't mean they do whatever they want. It's just a framework. There's a framework of how to approach them and how to approach situations when they're not complying with you, when they're not doing what you want them to do. So to backtrack, when I started noticing the behaviors in children, what I did myself was I dug into my textbooks, all of those textbooks that I got from college. Remember the ones they make you pay $300 for this one class and you never use the book again? Remember that scam, everybody? Well, this is some fruit of that scam for me. I was able to create this document, right? And it literally just says replacement strategies for problem behavior. So I'm just sharing this as a free pointer because it's been extremely helpful for me as a mother, as a teacher, and as a leader in a school, as a director, how to guide people with how to manage children when they misbehave. So I just want first to say this. Okay, a lot of times when children are doing things we don't want them to do, our reaction is to punish, right? So what I'm trying to encourage people to do is to think differently, to think about children's behavior in a different way. So what I mean by that is this. Let's say a child is, I'm going to use my own daughter, not wanting to get in their car seat, and they're just like having the best time not listening to you. It is very easy to take the kid, to pop them, to yell at them, all of those things. That's the knee-jerk human reaction. When in actuality, what I am presenting and trying to suggest is for people to think about children's behavior differently. So what I mean more directly is this. If a child is doing something like that, any behavior that you're seeing, biting, hitting, cursing, stealing food from your pantry, whatever it may look like, children do every and anything. I encourage you to first try to not be reactive, right? To not just react, and to think about what they're showing you. So let me give you some examples. There are actually different categories for the types of behaviors children display. So I'm going to give you some examples. There's, as far as the main categories, and then there are subcategories to all of these. So there's aggression as a category of like a type of behavior. And then, like I said, there's multiple different ways, there's multiple different behaviors that look like aggression. There are tantrums, there's non-compliance, there's social withdrawal, and then there's self-injury or repetitive behaviors. Now, just some quick examples. Aggression can look like hitting, scratching, kicking. Tantrums can look like screaming, crying, whining, right? Non-compliance can look like refusal to respond, a kid being passive when you ask them to do something. Social withdrawal looks like what it says, when a child is primarily plays alone, they don't want to interact. And then self-injury or repetitive behaviors can look like a kid scratching themselves, biting themselves, hitting themselves, rocking back and forth, flapping their hands. The reason why I'm suggesting to first, before you react, is to first identify what you're seeing, is because there are so many different appropriate reactions to what you're seeing. For example, let's say there's a child in your class and you think they're being bad, or just your own kid, and they are constantly picking their nails, or like doing this, like flapping or hitting, something to where they're injuring their self. And it could even be others. They could be dealing with autism. They could be on the spectrum. And what that's called stimming. Like when a child does repetitive behaviors, and you know, you would need a trained, licensed professional. Like you would talk to your pediatrician, who would then take you further. But what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of room for why children do what they do. And so when you can first identify the behavior, then you have room to pick what your response should be to their behavior. So this is my content for the week. Sometimes children really don't listen. Right now we are we're leaving school, right? And I'm trying to put Harmony in her car seat. Mind you, I work where she goes to school, so this is like kind of embarrassing, right? She's refusing to get in her car seat. Look at this. So this is what I'm dealing with, right? Behaviorally wise. Like I put her, it's a whole thing. I carry both of them to the car, and I can't, it's hard for me to carry that arm holder thing. So basically I hold the baby in my hand, because the car seat's in the car, and I have Harmony, I hold her hand, and I put all of my bags in the car prior. So what I do is I come and I put her in her chair, like I put her in this side of the car, then I go around and I put Quest in, because he has to be locked in because he's the baby. So right now, for some reason, randomly today, she decided to climb over the seat and go into my front seat, right? So she went into my front seat, and then right now she's refusing to get into her car seat. So I'm just documenting this as like a point of reference. Harmony, look, everybody's watching you. It's time to go home now, and we see that you're standing in the car rather than sitting in your car seat. Everybody wants to see how you know how to listen and how you know how to follow directions.
I said the chocolate.
Are you doing the right thing? Like, this is not funny. A little part of me wants to laugh. It's really not funny. It's really bad behavior. And these are the things that you have to deal with when you have a toddler. Let me see that. No, thank you. No eating off mommy's floor in the car. Quest, look. Aren't you ready to go home and eat dinner? And your sister, she's not allowing you to, right? It's time to get in your car seat. It's not funny. That's what we're going to do. And so the reason why you want to know, or it would be really helpful for you to have to identify the type of behavior you're seeing, for one, I think it takes away the ability to just be reactive. Children can be so difficult. They can stress you out so much. But in the realm of doing it the right way, right? If you just take a beat rather than just like react exactly in the moment, and you think, like, if you choose to be like, let me be intentional and think about what I should do, like how I should solve this problem, just like anything in life, it's just more of a measured response. and more than likely you'd be able to get the results that you want. So like I was saying, there are different types of behaviors. There's lots of different types of behaviors. There's lots of different categories. But for the main ones that we see, these are the main categories. So aggression, like I said, there's a laundry list of different things in aggression, rather behaviors that speak to aggression. And so what this paper provides, like I used to literally keep this in my classroom visible so I can see, because sometimes you don't remember. It's a lot to remember. But I would keep this available in my classroom, and I keep it available still for myself now as a reminder as to what the right strategy should be. Like, so for example, okay, a kid is a hitter. That's not fun, when you're managing other people's children, and they're hitting. That's a form of the child being aggressive. You want to try to provide them with a replacement behavior, something replacement. So a replacement strategy for that behavior. So just some quick examples. Some replacement behaviors for aggressive behavior, right? Some replacement strategies, meaning things that you can offer them or do in the moment to try to teach the child. Because just so I can reiterate, the whole purpose is you want to teach. You want to teach the children and the child the right way. So if a kid hits and you say, you don't hit, and so you hit them and go put them in timeout or whatever you may do, it's not to say you may not get quick results in the sense of maybe the kid will apologize, maybe they'll cry, maybe they really won't hit again. But the point of positive discipline is to teach them long term. If you teach a child and they learn in that sense, then they'll internalize it. When they internalize it, that's how they give it back. So all it means is like, if a kid will behave when you're there and when you're not there, they don't listen, then you're not teaching them efficiently, or they're not learning. Like you could be trying to teach and they're just not processing it. So some replacement strategies for aggressive behaviors can be giving them an appropriate object to hit rather than hitting whatever they are hitting they shouldn't. If they're scratching, offering them a texture wall, something to let out that behavior of if they want to scratch things, they need to touch. Help them get the behavior out in a different way. It may sound so silly, you may not understand it, but it really does work. If Timmy can't do anything, but he just wants to just kick, he's kicking everything in the house, he's kicking walls, he's kicking stuff, why don't you offer him something that he can kick rather than stop kicking? If you kick, you could do that, or you can try to say, all right, I see your feet really need to move. I see you really want to kick. You may not kick, but you may. And I said that a lot in my other video. The thing to remember, if you remember anything about this whole video, remember this. Offer children, in the name of bad behavior, you want to offer them, you want to, as the adult, you want to remember this statement. You may not, but you can. You may not, but you can. So you're setting a boundary. You're not just letting a child walk all over you. You're letting them know this is not okay. For example, this morning, Harmony, she was up very early with me, and she wanted to go inside of my my dresser drawer in my bathroom, like to go into my makeup and stuff. And so she's trying to get in there, and she really wants to get in bad. Like she loves to try to be me and copy me. So she's pulling it, and I look at her, I go down on her level, and I'm like, Harmony, you may not play in here. This is not for you, but you may read books. Now here's the thing. Let's just say this as well. If you're not providing a child or children with something to do, if you're not engaging them, expect that they're acting out. Expect bad behaviors. Young children absolutely need to be engaged. And the thing is, their attention span is short. So it is hard. That one book may last that child for 2 minutes and then they're on to the next thing. All I'm trying to say is a lot of times we blame children, we get annoyed, we get mad at them because of their nature. But that's off, because we shouldn't be. We should be coming into their nature and just helping them thrive. So I say all that to say, yeah, I did just want to share a few of the alternative, replacement strategies. Like I said, I named a few of them for aggression. Now I'm just going to go over to non-compliance. And the reason is because that's what this whole video was about. BRIT'S tip number 22, how to handle non-compliance. that's just, I picked this one because that's just what I was dealing with right now. So non-compliance is considered a child's refusal to respond to a request, and then potentially, like, if they're passive, when a request is made. So a very simple go-to is providing two choices, or saying something like this: hey, listen, to the child about whatever it may be. Well, you can do it by yourself, or I can help you. You can do it by yourself. Okay, it's time to go outside if they don't want to put in their jacket. Hey, listen, you can do it by yourself, or I am going to help you. You can say it that way. But generally, when you provide children with two choices, usually you can get a result from that. Usually, and it doesn't always work. Once again, everything with young children is trying things in your arsenal. Everything does not work. So without further ado, here is an actual example of non-compliant behavior. My own daughter. I am no perfect person. I don't have it all together. You live and learn. But yeah, my daughter in her car seat refusing to get in her chair. Ultimately, I did have to offer her two choices, and it didn't even fully work. But I'm working on it with her. I'm testing and trialing until we can figure out what can get through to her best. So check out the content, and thank you for watching. As always, like and subscribe. I appreciate you for being here.